Alright, welcome to the first official Viserai Tech on the channel. It feels only fitting, right? Like, I'm a Viserai main. I talk about it a lot on the socials. If you don't follow me on the socials, what the heck? The link is down there. Twitter's ideally where you'll find me, jabbering on and on about my desire for Bloodsheath Scale to come back. But long story short, I have yet to make like an official breakdown of my perspective on how Viserai plays, and he's been in a very interesting place for the last, I don't know, 5 to 6 months, in and out of the meta. So this is version 2898. In this video, it's going to be the classic constructed breakdown, and we're running Aether Ironweave. I don't run Tunic in the sideboard, at least not in this current version. I opted for an additional slot of Null Rune, but we'll get there. And Crown of Providence, superior. No need for Skullcap anymore. Grasp of the Arcanite, obviously. Rosetta Thorn, of course, while it's legal, why not? If at any point I need to change this, I'd probably go to Reaping Blade or Nebula Blade. And that will be a bridge we'll cross when the day comes. Spellbound Creepers, of course, you can have some insane interactions with this card. If you're not a Viserai player and you've been considering playing Viserai, let these leg pieces, let these bloody, spooky legs convince you if nothing else can. So we'll get into that and hopefully have some gameplay that can showcase some of the flexibility that these boots have. I do have a 60 card core with some sideboard. Of course, this is an 80 card deck. Running Amplify, their Arcanite Reds, Consuming Volition, Reds, the full rainbow suite of Mavrian Skies, Mordred Tide, Rattlebones, Read the Runes, sleeper card. Never take this out of your deck. It's such a good one card hand. Reek of Corruption is something that I'm trying out for the very first time today. So we'll see. We'll see if it sticks around. If not, I'll put, previously it was Spellblade Strike, which is the 1 cost 4 attack that says just make a rune chant when you play it. It's basically like the mini version of Spellblade Assault, which we'll see here in a second. But yeah, if this doesn't seem to work, I'm just trying to find more reasons to disrupt. And this one says if you've created or created an aura, Reek of Corruption gains when this hits a hero, they discard a card. So it's a more expensive Consuming Volition. Consuming Volition is if you've dealt or deal Arcane this turn, they discard a card. If that hits, this one is just the mere creation. So Mavrian Skies, Reek of Corruption, bam. If this hits, not only do I get to make rune chants off the Mav Skies, but you'll discard. So it forces interaction. That's what we're looking for. Revel in Runeblood. Obvious reasons there. Rune Flash, fantastic, especially if you previously had a red Read the Runes turn, tuck that in Arsenal. It's a setup turn. Shrill of Skullform. We actually run this, and we don't have the blues in here. I don't know why. Anyway, Shrill of Skullform, obvious in nature why that's got a seat here. Sonata Arcanix. I'm running a 30-30 split, so 30 non-attacks, 30 attacks. And Sonata Arcanix is only viable if you're running that nice split. So you start to get your odds decrease greatly, like dramatically, if you don't run 30 non-attacks, 30 attacks. In conjunction with this, you need to have targets. So we're talking blue attack actions, plenty of them. So here we've got red Spellblade Assaults, blue Spellblade Assaults, Swarming Gloomveils, Become the Arcanites, of course. This never leaves the deck, regardless of Runeblade, or regardless of the Viserai deck you're playing. Deathly Duet, that's what I did. I put Deathly Duet in place of the blue Shrill, just because of the flexibility. It's still a 2 cost, hits for 2. If you were to pitch an attack action card to pay for the cost, it's actually a 2 for 4. If you were to pitch a non-attack for it, it's still a 2, but you make the 2 rune chants on the back. It's awesome. It's basically a Spellblade Assault mixed with a Shrill Skullform hybrid, so trying that out. Blue Oath of the Arknight, it's a great Runeblade card that blocks for 3, or Runeblade non-attack action card that blocks for 3. It has some utility. Very rarely are you playing this card. It's usually a pitch and block. But yeah. And then, of course, Vexing Malice. Vexing Malice Blue is the unsung hero of the deck. It's a 1 cost, 3 block. I don't know how many times I've killed a hero that just doesn't respect Arcane. You have 4 or 5 rune chance, and you hit him with a Vexing Malice. They've probably got 1 AB. You know, they're either chunking their whole hand or they're dead. It's a great end game, late game card. Sideboard, 3 Command Conquers, and that's the only sideboard attack action. I feel pretty content with the attack actions here. This is just, staple. Put it in every deck. James White said so when he printed it. 3 Fate Foreseen, 3 Sink Belows, and 3 Runeblood Incantations. This package by itself is just to allow ourselves a little bit of defensive strategy if and when we notice the need for it. Very rarely am I bringing this package in. This is insurance. And our Null Rune suite, Arcane Barrier suite, I should say, because we've got Crown of Dichotomy and Vexing Quill Hand, both AB1 with synergy in the Runeblade class, and Arcane Barrier 1 on the boots, just in case we see a Icelander or Kano. We won't really be triggering Spellbound Creepers because they can respond to that and give us Frostbites or kill us if they're Kano, so we'll just make it safe and put the boots in. So, all that said, that's the deck. That's version 2898 anyway. So I feel pretty good, feel pretty comfortable with the deck and the synergies that it has with the cards in the deck. So let's see if we can't get a game in and see what this thing does. Alright, let's see. This is a really tricky matchup because we want to typically be pretty greedy with our hand, and Dorinthia punishes greed. This might be the occasion where you bring in some D-reacts here. We're going to go first here. We are going to, and if we run D-reacts, we always take out Sonata. Sonata, if you start putting in D-reacts, there's no point for it. So let's take out Sonata. Let's put our sinks in. Let's take out Rattlebones. And let's put our Fates in. And I feel pretty good there. Thing is they've got, let's take out Reek of Corruption and put our CNCs in. I literally just said I'd never use this package, it's insurance, and I'm using it. Get insurance. You never know when you might need it. I just made this person wait for forever. Sorry. So right off the bat here, we've got Mavrian Skies for days and some horrible blue attacks that you don't really want to see here. What we want to do is end up with a red mauve in Arsenal. So we can pitch, make a rune chant, play this, and at least threaten some arcane. They're running AB3 on the skull cap if they get below life, and then they got a static AB1 with the gloves. So no courage. I like that because courage can be, oh my, wait, hold on. Pause. We didn't even look. Got a Jubile. No counters. At least not right now. I'm trying to think of a way they can get a counter. Does the new aura from Dynasty give counters to this? We'll find out. I'm awful. I'm awful at knowing the cards that other classes do that I don't really play. Did that make sense? Anyway, they're not going to block this. They're going to let me have rune chance. That's amazing. Alright, well, we're just going to pass. We're going to end the turn, and we're going to Arsenal the Moth Skies. Alright, let's see what we got here. Alright, so, sorry, I had to fix something, but it looks like they played their Glistening Steel Blade. And they're Breaking Courage, turn 1. I didn't even look at my hand. We've got a great hand here. Because we can Mordred. We can Become. We can ditch this for a blue non-attack. We can play the Mauve. We can Consuming. Heck, technically, we can go get a Revel. And having a Mordred Rebel, let's just not block. I've got 40 life, use it as a resource. And we are going to see what tricks they have up their sleeves, because this is interesting to see. I mean, I understand the stupidity behind not blocking on a Glistening Steelblade turn, but if it was a Glistening with a Steelblade Supremacy, it'd be pretty nasty. So there is the potential to put a counter on Jubiel. Oh no, because it says Dawnblade. Why did they do this? Glistening Steelblade does nothing with Jubiel. This might not be the best video to make. Actually, this might be the best video to make with a Viserai deck tech, because we're basically not having to fight for our lives, and I can show a little bit of fun and freedom with the deck without feeling like I'm super on edge. So let's Mordred Tide. This will allow, anytime we make a rune chant, to make that many +1. We will discard this beautiful Oath of the Arknight. This is why we carry blue Oath of the Arknight, as addition to its block value, and the fact that it's a non-attack means that we can go get some fantastic blue pitch off of a Become the Arknight. So now we will Mauvrion Skies Red. We're up to 7 rune chants, and we will Consuming Volition, pitching Oath of the Arknight. And this is 7 rune chants. Go again. 4 physical. If the 4 physical hits, they'll discard a card, because it's very unlikely that they're going to pitch 7 resources to block all these rune chants. Not only if this hits will they discard a card, but I will make 3 more rune chants off of Mauvrion Skies. Technically 4, because Mordred Tide is on our side. So yeah, they just ate the 7. Oh no, they pitched a blue. And because we are playing a non-attack and then to an attack, Viserai still triggers, and instead of making 1 rune chant off of this ability, we'll make 2. So we'll go into a Rosetta Thorn turn, dealing 2 physical, 2 arcane from the weapon, and then 2 rune chants. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 damage turn, and all we had to do was endure their 6 damage attack. Yep, and they're not wanting to commit any cards from their hand, which is very interesting, considering Jubiel. I know there was a lot of uproar when Jubiel was presented as the trophy prize for a Road to Nationals coming up, and not many people are happy about it, but many were defending it, saying that it's a really good card. Maybe not in Dorinthia, at least not in this particular build where you're running Glistening. It has no synergy. So note to everyone, run Jubiel, fine. Make sure you have synergy. And they did not. And we'll pass, no arsenal, 1 resource floating. It tends to happen. Wow, this is a bad hand. So this is something that Pummel Viserai does very well. He tricks your opponent into thinking, oh, I know that hero. And then you tech into it, and all of a sudden there's pummels coming at you. In this instance, I said, Dorinthia, I know that hero. I'll pack a bunch of D-reacts and get rid of some like really key synergy for myself. This isn't normal Dorinthia. So we are going to pitch, bam. This feels weird, but we're just going to Arsenal. And we're going to Arsenal a Sink Below. And the first one we're going to use is the one in Arsenal, and we might just sink the sink. You ever sink the sink? Works every time. Okay, so they're popping their energy potion. and using one of the resources for Jubiel. They've given it go again with hit and run. I'm almost tempted to not block this initial one. I want to see them pump it up. I want to see an attack reaction before I start committing. Yeah, there we go. So it does gain +3, so he's coming in for 6. They're coming in for 6. And if I block with a card from hand, it'll get +1. So I can block 8 here. I think we still just sink the sink here and hope for a blue. Yeah, we'll sink the sink here. No blue. Not our day. They do have go again. And a nice 6 dominate. Nice. So the thing is we've got a refrigerator of armor here. We can block 2, 3, 4, 5. Technically we can block 6, but we ain't giving up them creepers like that. So yeah, we block like this. Bam, bam, bam. We don't want them. The thing is with Nourishing Emptiness is they'd get the additional intellect, which means they would have a 5-card hand, and we don't want that to happen. They're likely only running one of these because otherwise the dominate effect would not occur in the future. So we've survived the one Nourishing Emptiness. Let's see what happens here. So let's Mauve Skies, Swarm and Gloomveil. So let's have 3 go again. Make a rune chant on the back. We did present 1 arcane because we had one just kind of hanging out from last turn. They did not take damage because they had the Spellbane Aegis, which is a benefit for Jubiel. I wonder if this is just a sideboard tech into Viserai because of the Spellbane token that they get. And if they don't block and allow me to hit, yeah, I'm just going to pass here. There's no point in me wasting these 3 rune chants on this. I'll just tuck this in Arsenal. And if given the opportunity, this is nutty. Yeah, we're not blocking here. Double Revel, we're not blocking here. Go ahead. You could deal 18 damage to me and I wouldn't care. It's cool. We just took 9 damage and we're still at 23. So we're going to Mauve while consuming. We'll let these 3 rune chants resolve. It's telegraphed here that if any of this arcane damage does leak through and then any of the physical damage hits, they will be discarding. So there is usually a little bit of a thought process that goes in here. People either eat all the rune chants and then block the physical, or they block all the physical and then, or block all the rune chants and then take the physical. But there is a Mauvrian Skies behind this, so if this does hit, not only will these things take effect, but we'll make 2 rune chants on the back end. We will be making one off of this Viserai trigger, and the beautiful thing is Revel sees Revel, and it just Viserai triggers off of itself, and I mean the rune chants just multiply. It is like, and they're not blocking this. This is going from a deck tech to a what not to do when playing against Viserai. So we will do this. We will allow this first one to resolve. We make 4, but technically 5 because of Viserai's ability. And we'll be making another 5 here. And now we need some resources. We're going to break our Aether Ironweave. This is somewhat of a waste because we do get 2 resources off of this, but it is a Rosetta Thorn coming in for what is it? For 17. 17 damage Rosetta Thorn. I think I can live with a wasted resource here. And they've got a lot of reds in hand. And there's the blue. But like I said, this is almost an educational piece, and maybe what you should not do when facing against an aggressive Viserai. Block when Viserai plays Mauvrian Skies. Alright, so they did nothing. They arsenaled and passed. And we are going to, let's see, let's take a look at our hand. Mordred Tide. You always want to start with the Mordred. Doesn't matter what else we're going to do. We can swap this in for, let's go get a red Mavrian Skies and tuck that bad boy into Arsenal. Because now that we have the Mordred Tide, we're just going to multiply our rune chance here. We're going to get rid of this. We're going to go get a red Mavrian Skies, and we're going to play out our read the runes. And now we're sitting at 8 rune chance, and they said GG. Not sure if you see that, but yeah, they just going to concede at that point. So let's take a look at the deck again. So again, we didn't really see much of our amplifies that turn during that game. We saw some fantastic plays of Consuming Volition. Not necessarily the best defensive strategies against it, but you can see the power of it. Mavrian Skies as well. Very aggressive, gives Viserai the opportunity to continue his attack stance and carry on the process of just chipping damage and split arcane and physical with threatening on hits the entire time. Yeah, this is the deck list. It gets the job done pretty quickly, and I will leave the link to this deck list down below so that you can try it yourself. Feel free to make some tweaks to it. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on it. For me, in my opinion, I think there's no need to reinvent the wheel, and this deck list is a pretty good, clean starting point for anyone that's interested in getting involved in Viserai. Once you get some repetitions in, the deck will kind of speak itself to you, and kind of just the plays will highlight themselves. Amazing 2-card hands, 3-card hands, he can handle that. And so hopefully we'll get to dive into a little bit more of the equipment pieces and deck pieces that we didn't really get to see today. But again, if you like this video, please do the thing. All the things. Like, comment, subscribe, share, tell your friends. Go out and buy Viserai stuff. It's actually pretty cheap right now. So, yeah, that's it. If you enjoyed, share it with a friend, and let me know what you think.